This is the plaintiff, Stephen Ventresca. He says the defendant, his ex-girlfriend, took his toy poodle Teddy out without a leash, and the poor thing was mauled by a pit bull who attacked him. It was the defendant's fault for taking Teddy out without a leash. He told her 1,000,000 times, use a leash. She ignored him, and now that they've broken up, she refuses to pay the $656.38 he's owed for vet bills. This is the defendant, Whit Wynn. She says she and the plaintiff broke up over this incident, and he told her he would kill her if his dog died due to his injuries. She got a restraining order against him. He refused to return her belongings, and the plaintiff is only suing her now out of spite for leaving him. Bottom line, she didn't bite his dog, a pit bull did. She's accused of being a careless girlfriend.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Stephen Ventresca, you are suing your former girlfriend. Pronounce it for me.
Win.
Okay. Is it sometimes pronounced Nguyen?
Yeah, I've heard it like that.
Right, because I have.
Yeah.
That's why I was. Win.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Your former girlfriend for $656.38 plus your filing fee for vet bills that you incurred that you say were her fault. Okay.
Yes.
How long did you two live together or no?
Yes.
How long were you living together?
I think roughly 4 months,
And how long were you together entirely?
10.5 months.
Okay. So tell me what happened here.
I was having a cookout on Labor Day weekend, and Whitwin took the toy poodle out without a leash, without my consent, for a number, the 1,000,000th time, like it was stated. And when I was cooking, she wasn't paying attention to him, which she said she would, even though I told her to put him on a leash numerous times throughout that day.
Okay, hold on one second. Wait a minute. When you're cooking,
Yep.
who's out there?
The family with the dog, one of her friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you see the dog out there, is the dog on a leash?
No,
Okay. So do you say something to her about that?
I did, and several witnesses did as well.
Okay. Well, then why didn't you put the dog on the leash?
Last time I did that, she went in the house and took him back out without a leash, and that was a prior cookout.
So what does that have to do with protecting your dog? Because what ends up happening is
I
your
know.
dog sees another dog, runs over, and
Yep.
unfortunately that other dog's a pit bull.
Yep.
So what happened?
He got bit.
Right.
Right.
So even if someone's, quote, watching
Yep.
the dog, when the dog takes off, you can't, unless somebody's holding the dog
Right.
like this. So what I guess I'm confused about is why did you, as the dog's owner, allow it to proceed that your dog be on a front lawn unprotected without a leash?
I understand the question. It was because if I said to her, please bring him in the house, put him back on the leash, she wouldn't do it. I didn't do it because I was
It's
out.
your dog.
I understand. I was
Right.
out, I was cooking, I was entertaining the family. She
Yeah,
was
I know how cooking works.
Yeah.
I know that you can turn around and put the dog back in.
Right. No, I
when
could.
you're cooking,
And when I've
because I
done
do
that-
it all the time.
Right.
All
And I
right,
have done that in
so-
the past, and she's brought him back out. I know it doesn't have anything to do with this particular moment, but that's why I did not do it.
You
She-
sound so
she-
powerless
Well,
when you say that. I can't do anything because
I
she'll
was
get mad.
entertaining my family. I know. And then she, again,
So I guess what I'm asking is, how's the dog doing right now?
he is fantastic.
Okay. How do you then file a lawsuit against her when it sounds like you both were out there and everybody else was out there knowing the dog was loose?
Because she said she was going to watch him. She did not. That was a statement that was made, so I took her word for it. And then she was not watching him. He ran across the street. And
Okay, well, let's say I'm watching a dog, but I'm
Yep.
not carrying the dog and hugging it.
Yep.
How am I going to stop that dog from running? By the
Well-
time I notice the dog runs, even if I'm staring at the dog, I can't catch the dog
correct.
before the
Yes.
dog gets bit by the pit bull?
Correct.
Right. All right, so what happened with the dog? Did you take the dog out that day? Did he take the dog out that day? Tell me about the dog.
I'm usually the one that brings the dog out in the yard.
And so what happened?
I turned on for a second to put a game away, and then I heard a yelp across the street, and I ran across the street to grab the dog.
Okay. And by then the dog had already been bit?
Yes.
Okay. What ends up happening after the dog gets bit?
Whitwin took the dog to a emergency animal hospital while I was cleaning up and everything at the cookout for me, because she felt guilty that what happened, so she took
Okay.
him.
All right. So what happens when you come home with the dog after the vet?
I don't remember.
Is he mad? Do you
Yeah.
break up? What
yeah,
happens?
he was mad.
When do you guys break up in relation to this?
Over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, you guys break up. And what is the breakup about?
It had nothing to do with the dog, Your Honor.
What was the breakup about?
I was getting verbally abused, and this was the breaking point for me.
Okay. And what do you mean by verbally abused?
I think just randomly, like, going around the house and flip me off all the time, or just calling me bad names.
Like what?
Like, when we got in a fight, he would call me yeah.
Okay.
He gave me so much mental agony.
Over what, the dog
The
thing?
dog. Like,
What-
I
what
felt
was he
bad
saying to you?
Enough.
Right, what was he
He's
saying to
saying
you?
it was my fault, and if the dog died, then he would kill me.
That
That's
he would
not
kill you?
Funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what did you do? Did you leave him or did he leave you?
I left him.
All right. And he didn't take that well. All right. And why do you feel he didn't take that well?
I had to go to court and get a restraining order.
You got a restraining order because he had made the statement that if this dog dies, I'm going to kill you. All right. And so were you afraid of him?
I was at one point, yes.
Okay. And why were you afraid of him? Had he ever been physical?
No. Mostly verbal, but I didn't
Okay.
want to get it.
Did you think he
to
was
the
kind of
point.
nutty?
Yeah.
When you break up with him, he seems to go off the deep end. He's texting you like every 10 minutes and texting you some kind of mean things and leaving mean messages.
Yeah.
Did you kind of lose it?
Wasn't exactly like that happened.
It wasn't? Oh,
No.
it's exactly like that.
Well, she put a restraining on me. I proved her wrong.
No,
in court.
before the I listened to the entire restraining order
Okay.
transcript.
Okay. All right.
Every minute of it.
Okay.
Okay, but let's talk about what happens before the restraining order. You go online and what is it you find?
When my emails were hacked, my phone was hacked, my social media accounts were hacked. I lost all my email accounts, so I had to make all new ones.
You lost access to everything.
Yes, everything.
Because somebody went in and changed passwords. What do you do
Yes.
for a living?
I work in IT.
Oh, you work in IT?
Yes.
Okay, and so what happens, when that happens, what do you do? Do you contact him and say, hey, what's going on? I can't get into anything?
I didn't. Yeah, I kind of did, but I
And he
kinda-
doesn't admit to it, but the phone number, the new phone number associated with your social media accounts is his work number?
Yes.
Or at least it's the last 2 digits of his work number. So you suspect it's him.
Yeah.
Did you hack into her stuff?
I did not.
Okay, this will be now the second time under oath that you say that. However, because you did say that during the restraining order hearing. So let me ask you this. I see in the multitude of texts that both of you have submitted to the court, a text where you are telling someone while you're dating her months before the breakup, saying, I have some of her texts from before we met, so I need to know. Marriage is a big step. Tell me what you know about her. You know, yeah, marriage is a big step. This would have been your 3rd marriage, right?
Yes.
So let me just give you a little advice about how you don't have to keep getting married. That's one thing.
I know.
But another thing that I could tell you is if you got to ask some guy by text about the woman you are marrying, you don't know the woman you are marrying.
Correct.
Okay?
You're right.
And what you say to him, so interestingly, is, I have access to her texts.
Yep, I can explain that.
How'd you do that?
Well, she had a laptop left at my house, and it was logged in, and I was able to go into her Google account.
Oh, so we know you're capable
I
of
didn't
it.
know her password, so I didn't know able to
We
change
know
it.
you're capable of being a spy.
Well,
we know you're capable of breaching that basic trust human beings have in each other and surreptitiously going into her past history to read stuff about it. But you're not the guy, you're not the IT guy who changed all her passwords.
I did not.
The judge in the restraining order didn't believe you about that
I
either,
know.
right? Looked you right in the eye and said,
Nope.
I don't
You're
believe
correct.
you. Okay, and actually you were also doing more. You were texting her as well, constantly, to get her to see you, to talk to you. In fact, you called her one time 12 times in a row. What part of she doesn't want to be with you do you not understand? I mean, have a little grace when you exit a relationship.
I understood it. I was just a little upset.
Oh, you were more than a little upset. Let's talk about the post that you put.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, is the defendant responsible for vet bills because the defendant walked the plaintiff's dog without a leash?
100% responsible, yes.
Because?
Because he shouldn't have the dog off the leash.
But he was doing the plaintiff a favor.
But it's the law. You have to have the dog on a leash.
Wouldn't the owner of the dog that attacked be the one responsible, or would it be the defendant?
The defendant and their friend,
Why?
because they both had the obligation.
Oh, wait a minute. The plaintiff's also responsible?
Yes.
Why? The plaintiff didn't walk the dog without a leash.
Right, but it is his dog.
Okay. I'm not following the logic, but I hear you going inside the courtroom.
So sometime after the breakup, you post the following. A lot of people have hit me up to ask what happened. She has commitment issues. Maybe not. Maybe she just doesn't like you. She falls in love fast, falls out fast, and moves on fast. She doesn't care about the damage she causes. She has slept with over 200 men, having threesomes, foursomes, etc. Knowing this, I still gave it my all. She would prefer to have tons of friends and sleep with 5 different guys a week than have something real. She didn't even tell her parents we were engaged. Were you engaged?
Yep.
You serious? Yep. Was there a ring involved here? Did you give the ring back?
Yep.
Okay. She didn't give blank and was terrible in bed. She would just lay there. Her bank account was always overdrawn, even though she makes much more than she has bills. She nearly got my dog killed. I got stuck with the bill, unless I do something about it legally. Even though these were issues, I still gave it my all and didn't run away. That's what love and commitment is. What are you doing? How old are you?
No, I understand.
Do you think you might have anger issues?
I don't think I have anger issues. I think it was emotional at the time, honestly.
I mean, really, if she's so terrible in bed, why are you so whiny about her leaving you?
I'm not anymore. As soon as I got over it, it was been over for months.
Okay. So now here is what we have. We have a situation where you have not filed a counterclaim against him for all of this stuff. You brought it up in the restraining order hearing that you felt that it was him. 2 judges now have heard about it and feel that it was him. And I have 2 issues with your lawsuit. The first one is, you know the dog's loose, and you know she's not carrying the dog. And then the dog runs away, but magically it is all of a sudden all her fault because she's the one with the idea of bringing the dog out, and or she's the one who says, I'll watch him while you're cooking. Both of you know that you can't watch a dog that ran. So I don't know why you think this is all her fault. That's kind of why you guys ended up breaking up too. In the end, this didn't help. There obviously were other issues, but you know that's the abuse over this, like it's all her fault, is what opened up her eyes to, you know what, I can't be with this man long term. And then you regretted it, but it's too late. So that's one. But the other problem I have is that based on all of the evidence that I have, all of the texts and everything else that I see, you've done so much worse than this that she would be actionable on her part. So I'm going to conform the pleadings to the evidence, which is a concept in the law that means, should I make her pay you when what you've done to her is worth so much more than what she did to you? And the answer to that is, even if I found that it was her fault, which I don't, you're the dog's owner, and you decided that the dog could be loose in front with someone just having an eyeball on them. But aside from that, even if it was partially her fault, what you've done to her of harassing her, the posting stuff like that, you know, about, and I believe, as the other judge believed, changing her passwords, you know, so that it's worth so much more than all or part of the dog bill that, no, I'm not going to make her pay it. Verdict for the defendant.
Well, in this battle royal here between the plaintiff and the plaintiff fails to prove his case. You don't get the $600 he received. You know, one thing that really amazed me, you supposedly really care for the dog, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
The dog gets bitten by a pit bull. And you let her take the dog to the vet while you stayed back to wash dishes.
Well, I wasn't washing dishes. I was taking care of my family was there, and I had to take care
if that had been me and my dog, man, I would have been the one taking to the vet.
She felt guilty, so she took him.
When I heard that, I thought, golly, something strange.
No, she was trying
What
to
do you feel about all the testimony that came out in court? You didn't come off too shining, you know.
No, that's okay. Like I said, this should have never been brought up. This was about my dog and brought up all kinds of past issues. This was about justice for Teddy. Teddy did not get justice today.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
You must sign a few documents. Now here comes Ms. Wynn. You know, this must have been tough for you to go through, too, as well.
Yes, it was.
Listening all of this stuff in court, right?
Yes.
I can't imagine what's going through your head. What was going through you while you were...
Right now, relief.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. I guess you're glad you're not with him, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, okay?
Thank you.
There you go. Harvey?
Well, it turns out you're kind of right, because basically the judge is saying that the plaintiff kind of signed off on the defendant walking the dog without a leash, so, you know, tough luck. Now, we'll do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.